You're going to take a little bitty flat file and you're going to start filing that keyway back. Guys, how you doing? Something a little different today. We're going to see if we can make a little sleeper saw out of this Poulan wood shark. Just some simple modifications, keep a stock looking appearance to it. You know, something just to try to spruce it up a little bit. I picked this thing up from a fellow at the flea market back in the summer. I think I give him 40 bucks for it. Chain was dull and the bar needed dressed. Typical saw you'll buy off somebody. Looks like it's barely been used. It's like a time capsule thing. Looks brand new. But what we'll get into first is I've done got the log set up in the stand. Like I said, I've done got the chain good and short. We're going to go out back, make a cut. Probably make 2 cuts, pick the fastest cut out of the 2. I'm in about 11, 12 inches of poplar. It's starting the season. It's a pretty good test for the saw. About all, you know, something like this is going to want to bite off and chew anyway, but that's what we're going to do. I'll bring you back when we're back at the log stand. Alright guys, we're back in the shop, and as you can see, I pulled the starter cover off of the saw. I figured we could get into this time in advance part of it first, while the muffler cools down. I'd made a couple cuts before I ever started videoing, just to make sure everything was good and sound with the little saw, because I'd never cut a thing with it, honestly. Alright guys, we're going to start by picking this flywheel loose. You want to always hold out against the flywheel. You want to leave the nut on. There we go. Shouldn't take much. A little bitty ball peen hammer works better than that big construction hammer, but whatever you got will do just fine. Okay guys, so you should be able to see there's a keyway that's in this flywheel. You always want to file on this side of the key, because what we're doing, we're clocking the flywheel this way. So what you'll do is, and this is one of them deals where a little bit goes a long way, you're going to take a little bitty flat file and you're going to start filing that keyway back. And when you've taken it back, just do a little bit at a time, and when you get to where you can clock it just a couple of degrees, then you'll cinch it back down. But once I get it finished here, for sake of the video, I'm going to file it off camera, and I'll bring you back. Okay guys, I've got this one about ready to cinch down, and I didn't file a lot more. What I done on camera, I probably done that much and just a little bit more off. It doesn't take a lot. Right there would be stock, so if you've went too far, you'll know you've went too far if it's sputtering in the cut and doesn't clear up. Sometimes they'll clear up under heavy load, but you're about better off to back them back off a little. But this won't be too far. This is probably 5 degrees max or something we're moving it. Say we're moving it from in theory from say 25 degrees up to 30. This thing's probably relatively low compression. I doubt that coil has a lot of advanced built in it, so you know, it's a throwaway homeowner saw basically, but you can see it's not got a lot of compression at all, and this thing's really low hour. But you're gonna hold against the compression, zip it back down. If you choose to do it the ratchet and the piston stop, that's just fine, but what I'm going to do next off camera is put the recoil back on. It's just, you know, your 4 screws. Some may have 3 depending on what saw you're doing, but this one has 4. We'll get that back on and I'll bring you back when we're ready to pull the muffler off. Alright guys, muffler mod time. I've had several people ask how I mod these mufflers. This same muffler design is used, I'm going to say design, not the same muffler, but the same design is used on a lot of saws. The Craftsman's, Poulans, the Huskies, and the J-Reds from this era. And this saw is basically like the baby brother to 42cc Wald thing. I think these are 36cc's, pretty sure of that. But honestly, that little thing cut pretty respectable for what it is. And take note that these do have a 6-pin drum. They do that so you can have more torque in the cut, I guess, with less horsepower. It's kind of like going from 8 back down to a 7. Or going from, say, a 20-inch bar down to a 16. You're just going to have more power in the cut. It's a numerically higher gear ratio. It'd be like going from 355 gears to 410, say, if that makes any sense. I've done 7 pins on these. Some of them like it, some don't. And take note on some of these, if you pull it down, don't be surprised if there is a screw down here. Some have it, some don't. If it's the muffler that has the outlet on the side, normally it's going to have an extra screw, and they'll most always have this little insert. When we port these, we leave that out. We're not going to port this one, I don't think. I just don't think. I don't think there would be much benefit to it. Okay, guys. So these mufflers, they were some of the earliest catalytic mufflers on saws. Like I said, this design is used on a lot. See, my oil mix works really well. Everything's coated with oil, from the exhaust port all the way into the muffler. Anyway, there's your spark screen on these. Now what I do to these mufflers, alright guys, hopefully you can see what I've done there. I got a little closer on that side than I should have, but it'll still be just fine. Some people may say, well, just leave that out. Well, this helps to keep the muffler structurally sound when you're tightening down the bolts going through the front. You could probably make some sleeves or something to go in place of this, but I've always just done this and it seems to work well. Okay, muffler mod time. If you can see, the muffler breathes or exits through these little slithers back here, or we may call them fish gills, some of us, but and there's a lot of things you could do with this. You could put a pipe in the side of it easily, add another deflector, and the way that works is this goes on behind it, and you know, there's your exit. You can see the carbon on it. What I'm going to do on this one, and I've honestly never done this, so it'll be something new, is I'm going to go over here and I'm going to just cut these out and open this up to where we have a completely stock looking appearance. Alright guys, I've got that cut out there pretty good. Probably almost as big as the exhaust opening. That'll be just fine, but depending on what you use, it could look, you know, more barbaric or rough, I guess. Don't lose any sleep over it. At the end of the day, take note, this is a $40 chainsaw. Should have a stock looking appearance to it. And not many people will argue at all that that's going to flow better than what we had. Is it the best solution? Probably not. Normally, like the wife-supported wild thing I done, there's a recent video of it on the channel. I done it probably getting close to a year ago. But I actually sealed that off and put a 1/2-inch piece of pipe in the side of the muffler and cut that baffle open the same way I done this one. But what I'm going to do next is I'm going to get the saw back together, and you may end up having to retune your high jet. I'll bring you back once the saw's together. Well, guys, I don't know. It seems to be holding a higher RPM in the cut, but I guess when we get in on the editor, the timer will tell the tale. It sounds a lot cooler, we'll give it that. It's a lot snappier than it was. Normally you'll get that from a muffler mod in time in advance. The last saw I'd done a video like this on, and I may try to find it and link it, was like a little Husky 235. It was a Stratos saw. This is pre-Stratos. I don't remember what we gained, but I swear I think it was something like a 20% increase from a muffler mod in time in advance, and I, you know, done something similar to this. It kept a stock looking appearance, and let's face it, that little saw it's got a crappy chain on it. It's cutting pretty respectable for what it is. Your average person that just cuts a cord or two of firewood a year, if you kept this thing maintained, you know, it would probably be all you needed if you was in, say, up to 12 inches of wood, depending on what it was. You know, I'm sure a foot of hickory or locust or cherry or white oak or something's going to give it a fit, but you know, if you had your chain and your rakers or drags on point, you know, it would probably do pretty good. I'm pretty impressed with it, to be honest with you. But anyway, I'll try to put together some kind of video out of this. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope everybody has a great day.